Hello, I'm Steve Overgard and I'm at Dunlop Village Condos, and it is late summer 2025, and I'm going to walk around to the units and see what we need to do for the fall list. This is the back stoop, and it looks like it may have at one time been higher and then sank in the ground. It is low enough, but we could pour another stoop here and get our 4 inches or whatever we need. It's about 8.5 inches from the top of the poured stoop to the top of that first step. And this is a metal cover that was made for the mini split, and it looks to be in good shape and stuff like that, but we ought to get some paint on it because if we don't paint it, it's going to rust, and it won't take long to rust, and then it'll start leaching through to the siding. All right, and right here there's a condensate line that just doesn't come out very far on the foundation wall. We ought to extend that a couple of inches, and then we ought to get some spray foam up in that hole because it's a void in the foundation wall. This is 333 Prestige. This is true here, but it's also true of all the units. There's a number of cracks in the aggregate driveways, and certainly would be a band-aid, but I think what we should do on that is clean them out with a power washer, and then come back the next day and put some sort of sealant or something like that. We could extend the time before we have to do the whole replacement by probably several years if we do that. And this windowsill definitely needs some paint. And we got some cracking in the mortar joints right here on the side of the steps. There's one window screen right here on the side. This is the second level window, and it is fogged up. We could probably take the panes out, take it up to the glass shop in Richmond, have them fix them, and then we could pick them up later in the day and bring them back, most likely. There's a crack right here in the foundation. It is not following the mortar joints. It goes right through the brick, so I don't think we need to do anything with that, but that's definitely something we want to monitor going forward. All right, and this is 339. The numbers on the mailbox are not very legible, so that is a safety thing. Can't really see it on the front of the house from here either. Small foundation crack right here, not big. Goes to the brick, goes to the mortar, goes to the brick, so watch and monitor on that. This unit in general, I guess because it's white, really shows that it needs a power wash. There's a little copper roof over the little bit of a bay window there, and that really is showing some staining too. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is these are granules from the roof, pieces of the roof. So it probably won't be too long before we're thinking about replacing the roof on this one. And this downspout needs a splash block. It's eroding the ground where the water comes down. The dryer vent needs a new cover. It's on the ground. These just get, over time, the sun just bakes them and they just disintegrate. Probably ought to put some of the river stones right in this area here. Got some vegetation growing up behind the mini split, and over time that could cause problems, so we got to take care of that. There's a foundation crack here. It looks like it's been patched up before. It's cracked again. If we patch it up, it would probably crack again, so I think on this one it's a watch and monitor. Some of the foundation block work is showing here. Originally the grade of the ground was up to at least the bricks. So over time you have subsidence of the ground. That's where the ground just basically sinks down for whatever reason. So what I would recommend in this area here is to build it back up with rock dust. Packs down very nicely. It's easy to handle, and we can get positive drainage away from the foundation. And then we'll put an inch or two of topsoil on it and then some grass seed. There's a bundle of replacement shingles, so there's been some roof work done here on this building. This is a pipe that goes from the downspout into an underground system, presumably takes it down to the ravine over there, but the weed eater over time is just eating it up. So if you're interested in continuing to do that, which is a good idea, we need to cut it off there and put in a splice, dig it up a little bit, put a nice new splice in there that's not all torn up. There's some vinyl siding here. It's great to have that on hand, but it probably ought to be out of the weather because it won't be any good if you leave it out forever. This exterior door is rusting at the bottom. It's already got, looks like aluminum trim on it on the outside, and then I see up here where the weather stripping has come down, In all likelihood, that door is ready for replacement. Usually when they start to rust at the bottom, the door frame themselves have gone too. What we like to use is the fiberglass clad, not the steel clad doors, because they do not rust. And then we also like to use the composite frames. The composite frames have the bottom part of the frame is made out of composite, not wood, so it won't rot either. And then on the outside, we like to use the PVC lumber, which is made out of plastic, PVC, and it won't rot either. So we ought to replace that door. It's the same situation here, but it's not as obvious. You've actually got negative drainage where water will flow back to the house instead of away from the house. So the same fix here is, a few feet away, is build it up with rock dust, top it off with topsoil and some grass seed. And it's the same thing along here too. There's actually a little ditch that runs down alongside the foundation wall. So that's going to accelerate. The bigger a ditch that there is, the more it's going to erode. So if you get it now where it's positive drainage instead of negative drainage, all of that will stop. And somewhere along the line, we got over to unit 345. Again, on 345, the paint on this railing, it's been painted probably several times. It's starting to flake and chip. We need to scrape it down, get rid of anything that's loose or chipping, and then prime it with a metal primer and then paint it. I'm at 324. This is the unit beside Larry's. Same comment on the driveway. We got some cracking, which we can Band-Aid fix, which will give us a couple more years. Got a tiny bit of moss growing here, a little bit of mortar missing, and some vegetation there. So just a tiny bit of maintenance work here on this. The numbers are missing. That's a safety thing. And we're missing the adapter that takes this downspout into the underground. This is the adapter that takes the downspout into the underground at the back. It's eaten up by the weed eater, so we need to dig it up, put a coupling on there and then reattach it. This is a bracket for a satellite dish, which is no longer used, so we got to take that off and caulk up the hole. And there's another one. This is at Larry's unit. It seems like we do this every time we come out, but we got a little piece of the fakey reiki, which has come loose right there. This is the end of one of the pieces of aluminum, and the paint is chipped off. We can use a special paint from Sherwin-Williams called Direct to Metal, and we can just paint the end of that. All right, we want to get a quote from Hurricane Fence to do a aluminum fence that looks like wrought iron. Just come out just a couple of inches there, come back past here to obscure the view, and then tuck right back in. And we do need a gate there. And we need to caulk up these holes. All right, I'm at 318, and this is the unit beside Larry's. I'm noticing the roof. I think the roof doesn't have too many years left on it, just so for planning purposes. This is probably one that's going to have to be replaced at some point pretty soon. This shows the area where the concrete is settled pretty badly. So it's sunk down a couple of inches here. It's no big deal because, you probably wouldn't drive over that much, but just goes to underscore we need to take care of this cracking. It's just going to get worse. If we take care of it now, we're going to probably get a couple more years out of it. You need to paint work on this rail. The way to do this is to scrape it down. It's made out of some kind of composite. It's not metal. Scrape it down, prime it, and paint it where the paint's coming loose. Strictly cosmetics. These poles by the gas meter really ought to be painted. This vent is already starting it's starting to deteriorate here. The plastic just kind of comes off in your hand, so we ought to replace that vent cover. And the tree is rubbing up against the side of the building. That is not good. We should trim that way back so it doesn't rub on the building. Got standing water in the backyard. It hadn't rained for a long, long time. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a underground leak of some sort. This is another view of how the vegetation has grown up and it's rubbing on the house. And there's an electrical conduit here. It's got a lot of rust on it. Cosmetically, should be painted. Back steps, you can see where these back steps have failed. It's probably the stringers underneath all of this, which really means rebuilding the whole thing. The bottom of the door is showing signs of rot there and there. So at a minimum, replace the door frame. Worst case scenario, replace the whole door, depending on whether the door is deteriorated too. This is the granules from the roof, just like that other roof that was just replaced. That just kind of indicates that you don't have a lot of life left on this roof. Okay, and this is on the unit next door. You can see that there's several places on the screen that are ripped and taped. That one side, the back side looks okay. The back storm door on this unit is broken. The glass is everywhere. No point in even trying to fix it. We should replace it. It looks like an Anderson. The dryer vent is gone. And I've been at unit 300 for the last couple of comments. The front facade of this one really needs to be power washed. I think we've done some mortar work on this one, just kind of patchwork, but you can see that it's continuing to deteriorate. So either need to do it again or, you know, grind it down and do the more complete job. Now this driveway, they've already done what I was talking about on the previous comments. They've cleaned out the cracks and they've put something back in the cracks, and that's the right thing to do. That's what we should be doing with all the driveways that showed cracking. Okay, and this is unit 106. Same comment on the driveway. The bottom of this fence rail post right there is starting to deteriorate. There's a piece of siding right there that needs to be reattached. Now, I'm noticing on some of these where the pipe collars and the pipes come together, there appears to be some deterioration of where the pipes meet the pipe collars. We would have to take the drone up and we could look at them all. That metal cover right there probably ought to have some paint. It's going to start to rust. We need some paint on the metalwork here. And some paint on the metalwork up here. Not sure what's going on up here, but there's a kind of a bulge in the siding, and the fakie reiki is pushed out. So we got to go up there and investigate and figure out what's going on there. Looks like the siding might have been cut too long, and if it heats up, it's going to expand, and then it's going to probably bulge out and warp itself. That's the same thing going on over here, right there. And it is kind of warm today, so. That's one of those underground pipe connections thing. The weed eater's just torn it up. And the shutter is coming loose there. Need a little bit of mortar work here. And just like the other side, this bottom piece rotted. It was replaced, it rotted again. So maybe it's time to replace this whole post. Maybe we could get a composite one that won't rot. This shutter is popping out. That one's missing a cap. I'm at 100 now. Been here for a little bit, the last couple of comments. And also this window right here is fogged up, so we need to take that to the glass shop. All right, I'm at 101. All right, we need some paint at the front porch. The wood member there needs to be painted. This underground pipe is just eaten alive like the other ones are. Same thing, the weed eater. These shutters are faded and should be painted. This is, I'm still at 101. These stair risers are dangerous. That should be a high priority. They should be replaced. And this composite deck board is just no good. It just comes off with your finger. So it's no better than salt treated. We got 3 screens right here in the back. They're not ripped, but they are threadbare, so we should go ahead and get those done. Need some paint here on the metalwork. That's not cool. And the dryer vent is past its prime. We need to do a new one of those. There's another one over there. Probably the dryer. It's probably the dryer vent. This is probably the bathroom vent, but we should do all 3 of those. Condensate lines right here, too short. They're just kind of dribbling along the foundation wall. That will cause problems, so we should extend those a couple of inches, maybe get an elbow in them. There's some more paint work there on the metal. That's 101. So I'm thinking this is 103. There is a picket missing. Shutters need to be painted. Little tiny bit of mortar work, not much. So when I've said 107, when I said 103, I actually mean 107. Shutters on all this building are faded. 101 and 107, all the shutters. Okay, now I'm at 119. Here's the drainage system here. It looks like a 4-inch drain line strapped to the building, comes down, gets it away from the house. Probably does a really good job aesthetically. Not the best looking thing. All right, in the ceiling of the front porch, the vinyl ceiling panels are coming loose. The rear door on the screen porch should be replaced. Okay, the dryer vent there for 119, and also looks like the dryer vent for 125. This is 125, just like some of the other units. You've got some negative drainage right here along this. It can be built up with rock dust and topsoil and grass seed. Same comment with the driveway on this one, and there was an attempt at a patch here. You can see it, it's not great, so we had to put in the budget maybe to take a section of this aggregate out and then re-pour this one section, as it'll spread. This section's gone too far. Maybe re-pour this one section here. Cosmetically, the mailbox just really looks horrible. This is the drainage thing, and you can see where that one side is dropped down. That side has remained true, but this side is dropped down. I'm not sure if you're worried about that as far as a tripping hazard. Can't imagine anybody would be walking in the drainage ditch, but we could straighten that out, re-pour a section or something like that to get rid of that drop.